Look, when a school says your child is a behavior problem, and you thinking, I don't see this at all. Are they playing with me? What is really going on? Is the school lying? That could be the case, or it could be the case that something bigger is going on. This is one of the most common situations we'll see. And guess what? They both can be right. Your child can be absolutely terrorizing the school, but then they go home and it's the best child, the best brother, the best son and daughter that a person could ever have. I see it all the time. A child just gets finished destroying their classroom, spitting at me, kicking, punching at me, and then the parent comes, picks them up, and all of a sudden, they're on their best behavior. And as the little angel is walking out the gates, holding mommy and baba's hand, they look back at the school personnel and staff, and all of a sudden, the halo cracks. They start growing a little goatee, a little curly mustache, and then horns start coming out their head. And they turn back around, and then a little tail pops out. So that tells you everything you need to know right there. But here's the key. You shouldn't be asking who's right, me or the school. What you should be asking is what's different in the environment that's making people think this. Now, behavior doesn't happen in a vacuum. It depends on the structure. It depends on the transitions, the noise level, how many children there are, the teaching style of the teacher. All of these things have an impact on why the child, all of them, act the way that they do. So instead of asking, why is my child acting this way? You want to identify what is going on in the environment and what times are they acting the way they're acting. So home is completely different from school. At school, you have to do things such as sit for long periods of time, follow directions the first time or else. You have transitions. They have to be quick and precise. And you have large groups with large noises, different personalities in the classroom. And if you don't have the same supports that you have available at home, the same space, the same questions that parents can ask to see if they're okay, that's when the behaviors can show up. So it doesn't mean that your child is attempting to mislead either you or the school, or they just want to destroy everything that comes within their sight. It means that there's something in the environment and there's something within them that can be taught to handle what's going on in the environment. They just don't have it yet. At home, things are different. You got more supports, more flexibility. If there's communication difficulties, the family usually knows what the child wants and can give it to them without any problem. At school, you don't necessarily have the familiarity with the child that you do at home. So there can be miscommunication. And typically, I would even say 9 times out of 10, that's the problem. So this ain't manipulation. This is not your child choosing to act a fool. It's just putting things into context. When you see that they struggle with things such as transitions, such as asking for what they need, whether it be a break to use the restroom or even just simple attention, we have to look at what skill they have, what skills they don't have, and it's the environment supporting it. Because typically it's much easier at home because the environment supports what they need. Where at school, you have to cater to 30 other children in the classroom and hundreds of other children in the school. So you may not get the same supports that you get at home. So you have to identify, do I have the same supports in the classroom that I do at home? And does it support the skills that they need to get by from day to day without acting a fool? So what should you do if you're hearing this? Number one, you want to ask for specifics. You don't want to just hear that they're acting a fool. You want to know exactly what they're doing. So you want to say, please tell me exactly what it is that they're doing. And you want to hear something specific like they're kicking the teacher in the kneecap and they're throwing the pencils across the room. Although it may seem comical to some, this is exactly what goes on in the classroom. Then you might want to ask, well, what supports are available? Do they get a token board? Is there classroom rules even in the class? What happens when they do what they're supposed to do versus when they do what they're not supposed to do? All that will give you an idea of what the environment is like and if it's supporting what your child is dealing with. And then you also want to ask, do they have the necessary skills to get through day to day? When is the pattern happening? Is it morning? Is it evening? Is it right before school lets out? Because some children can go through the whole day and be just fine. Some are done by recess. Some could last until lunch. So by identifying the patterns, you can also say, they're hungry right before lunch. I can see why they weren't able to articulate what the problem was. That'll give you an idea of what you can do next. And once you have that package, it'll give you a much better idea of, is this a behavior problem that we need further supports for, or do we just need to make some small adjustments so they can get through the day? So the last thing you want to do is bridge the environments. Share what works at home. That way, it may be adapted to what the school can do. You don't want to blame the school, and you don't want the school blaming you. What you have to do is work together, and you have to bridge those environments. What works at home may not work at school, and vice versa. But if something is working at school or something is working at home, you want to keep those consistent across both environments so the child can translate and start to learn, this is how I act. Eventually, they're going to go into the real world where everything is not going to adapt to them. But in order for them to gain the skill in the first place, you want to make it as consistent and as clear as possible. So it's not about fighting each other and proving who's right or who's wrong. It's about working together to develop the necessary skills in the child so you don't get those calls anymore. So if you've ever heard something from the school that does not match what you see at home, make sure you drop it in the comments. I'd love to help you by responding and maybe giving you some pointers on where to go next. If you need even further support, make sure you contact us. We can give you a free consultation just by checking out the link in our bio. If you just want to peruse on your own to see if you can identify what's causing the behavior, we've dropped a free behavior function cheat sheet below so that you can check that out and you can look at what's going on in the environment, how your child is behaving, and what may be supporting or exacerbating the problem. So we hope you really found this video interesting. We hope you found it helpful more than anything. And if you want more information just like this, you only have to do one thing, and that's stay tuned.